Yo, what up, everybody? Long time no see. This is your boy Seafood That Guy speaking. And man, I know the One Piece release schedule usually gets a little weird around the New Year's time, but I gotta say, I feel like it's been forever since we came out with a video on this channel, but it's okay because we are getting right back into it pretty soon. With chapter 1104 right around the corner, I thought it's only appropriate if we get our predictions in before them spoilers drop. Before we get started, make sure you guys drop a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe, guys. We're 10 away from 500 subscribers, so make sure you get your subs in if you want to be in the 500 crew. And let's get straight into it.
Hey, listen!
Yeah, so like I said before, with 1104 looming, I figured it best that we get in our predictions before them spoilers drop, just so you know it's the most authentic. So coming in at number 3, Kizaru remains neutral. Now, I know a lot of people are expecting Kizaru to flip here. A lot of people have been seeing him in the last couple of chapters reminisce on the good old days, reminisce with his time with Bonnie and Vegapunk, even busting out the crank that Nika on occasion. But I think Oda's made it pretty clear that Kizaru doesn't know exactly what he wants, and his form of justice can change just like a glimmer of light in the distance. Now, personally, I think the only reason he flips is if the world government betrays him, right? If Saturn turns on him and says, you didn't do your job good enough, and actually attacks him, then maybe Kizaru flips. But he's very dedicated to his job. And even that would be a little bit of a stretch. I mean, if Saturn starts attacking him, it is what it is. But I can more so see him aligning with the Fujitoras of this world, the smokers of this world, if anything, right? Either way, his mantra is unclear justice, therefore we're just not supposed to know what he's gonna do, and I think Oda's portrayed this perfectly. Kizaru, he's a question mark in my head, so let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Coming in at number 2 is that Saturn will survive. I've seen 100 people say that Saturn is gonna die here. Pretty much everybody's predicting it, and honestly, I just don't see it. I've even seen some theories that possibly make sense. However, I think it's just a little bit too soon for one of the Gorosei to be killed. And to be honest with you, Egghead Island is probably gonna get blown out of proportion by Big News Morgans as it is. And who's he gonna pin Saturn's murder on? Luffy? I mean, that's like Pirate King level. I don't think any of the Yonko are going around killing Gorosei members. So I'm sorry guys, I just don't see Saturn dying this early in the game. On top of that, with the introduction of Saturn's powers, and we know all the Gorosei have these super hacks, the ancient, mythical Zoan devil fruits, that Oda basically created a tier level above the Yonko. As a matter of fact, going forward, you're gonna have pirates, Yonko commander level, admiral level, Yonko level, and now you're gonna have Gorosei level. So for all those people that are looking for a god tier or a demigod tier introduced into the story, well, here you go. I'm gonna be real with you, I think we're only gonna get more of them while the story goes on. So the Straw Hats and Vegapunk escaping here and getting to Elbaf, I think will probably be enough of a win. Just quickly before I get into my number 1 prediction, I just want to do a really quick honorable mention, which is Egghead Island will be destroyed. I think it's obvious. I think it's super duper obvious that Egghead Island will be no longer after this arc, right? It's been foreshadowed on multiple different occasions with the arrival of the Marines. The narrator basically explained that this was way more than what happened when they wiped out Ohara. Also, if you remember that right before Egghead Island, Oda decided to introduce the power of Emu, where he wiped out Leloucia Kingdom. All my anime onlys, y'all are enjoying that right now, so that could definitely be a thing going forward. But the thing that I think will actually most likely be the catalyst to destroy Egghead Island is actually Kuma himself. We saw that in Kuma's flashback. Saturn made it mandatory for Vegapunk to put in a self-destruct option in Kuma. This was to make sure that Kuma doesn't ever get out of line, but it would be super poetic for that same self-destruct sequence to be the undoing of the island that the world government cares about so much. And we know the world government cares about it because we've seen them make it clear on multiple occasions. They've said it time and time again. Go in and kill Vegapunk. Protect Punk Records. Protect everything else, all the other experiments. They even went so far as to make a deal with York in order to be able to do all of those things. So we know that this particular island is super duper important, and it's just not gonna make it. I believe that Kuma at some point will self-destruct, and whether he survives or not, it's gonna send Punk Records crashing down onto Egghead Island, resulting in its destruction and Vegapunk now being the only person in the world with that knowledge. And he's on the Sunny, he's on a Yonko ship, and nobody can touch him. I'm actually gonna make a video on this exact topic, but yeah, Egghead, it's basically grits. But coming in at number 1 is Kuma's death. I'm pretty sure it's safe to say that everybody has predicted that Kuma will die here, and I'm right there with you. You know, the only place that we might diverge is exactly how he dies, but the way that the death flags have been flying above Kuma's head for years now is basically undeniable. Kuma's death has been foreshadowed all throughout this arc, from when he fought Akainu on top of the red line. Akainu basically said that he was like fighting a corpse, till when Bonnie asked Vegapunk to turn her father back, and Vegapunk stated that it was impossible. And even in the most recent chapter of 1103, Saturn told Bonnie that her father is indeed dead. That was a part of the deal that Kuma, Vegapunk, and Saturn made all those years ago, was that he was going to be able to remove Kuma's consciousness, basically making him devoid of any humanity, which is the same thing as death. There's only one problem. This is One Piece, and death of the body is different from death of the soul. This was kinda touched on by Vegapunk earlier on in this arc, where Vegapunk was actually doing some studies on the pawpaw fruit, where he came to the conclusion that the soul actually makes up a percentage of someone's body weight, and it disappears after they die. Basically means that the person gets lighter once they're dead. If you combine that with what we know from Vegapunk's earlier experiments, we know that the pawpaw fruit actually makes the intangible tangible. And I believe that Vegapunk chose those words for a specific reason. And that's because with this power, you can literally push something like a soul, which is, for all intents and purposes, intangible, and turn it into something that you can touch and feel. This is going to be huge when it comes to the death of Kuma, because currently he's defending his daughter from Saint Saturn, who is pretty much guaranteed to win this fight. I mean, Kuma is broken, battered, and his fight on top of the red line basically left him without a leg. I mean, it seems like he got some sort of treatment with the revs, but he is far from 100%. And even if they were to escape, I just don't see a point in Kuma being able to go on in this body. I think Oda is basically pulling a Rock Lee after the Gaara fight here, and he's showing that Kuma is willing to fight, even in death, if it means defending his daughter, which basically means his body is acting on its own, and that's just how much Kuma loves Bonnie. And this is awesome to see, but honestly, it doesn't really matter what kind of postpartum Nen Kuma has in place here. Once this fight is over, he goes back to being dead. Unless, of course, Kuma's soul was to be put into another body that didn't have a soul already. This is actually where Kuma has options. The S-Bear is here, it's on Egghead Island, and it's locked up with the rest of the Seraphim, and I think this would be the most obvious, perfect match for Kuma. The S-Bear is a younger version of him. He already has his devil fruit, which Vegapunk was able to clone perfectly because it's a paramecia, and Vegapunk already stated that cloning paramecia fruits is easy. On top of that, it's a younger, more powerful body. Vegapunk spliced in the Lunarian DNA so it can survive in basically any environment. So I just can't see that not being an option. Of course, the question has to be raised, is the authority chip going to come into play here? And if Kuma transfers himself into a body that essentially can be controlled by Saturn, well then it doesn't really matter. Nothing changes. He just goes into a younger body, but Saturn would still control him. So that would definitely be a hurdle that they would have to get over. But the other option is the ancient robot. Now, this is a little bit more of a long shot. However, for some reason, the ancient robot was attempting to invade Mary Joa seemingly in the same manner that Kuma tried a couple chapters earlier in this arc. It definitely succeeded in wrecking the place until it ran out of power. And now that Luffy is here running around in Gear 5th, spreading the drums of liberation, all sorts of weird stuff has been happening, and one weird thing is that the ancient warrior robot woke up. And don't be surprised if a genius Vegapunk is able to fuse both the robot and Kuma together to make ancient warrior Kuma, protector of Nika and protector of Bonnie, which makes a lot of sense because Kuma is the last Buccaneer, and the Buccaneers were followers of Nika. They were also protectors of the people in need. So the connection between Kuma's race and this ancient robot is bound to be explored. I've been a fan of this theory for a really long time, and I've mentioned it in earlier videos, but let me know what you guys think about these theories, guys. Let me know what you guys think about these predictions for Egghead. Of course, 1104 is right around the corner, so we gotta talk about that. But get in the comment section right now. Let me know what you guys think is gonna happen in Egghead. Make sure you guys drop a like on the video. Make sure you guys subscribe. We're gonna be discussing One Piece from here on out, guys. 2024, here we go. Make sure you guys stay safe, stay healthy, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.